from the Arizona Coyotes, the president, CEO, and alternate governor. Here's Anthony LeBlanc. How are you?
How are you guys today?
We are doing great. You, I'm sure, are still probably on cloud nine with the announcement yesterday that you're going to build a new arena in the East Valley, and this is near Tempe Town Lake, and this has been a long time coming, basically since the team moved out to the West Valley and Gila River Arena. Just tell me, is this franchise saving, this announcement that this new arena is going to actually come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean that's probably a drastic way to look at it, but it's probably also a realistic way to look at it. I mean the events of the past year and a half, in particular Glendale's action to terminate our lease, at first, while it seemed devastating, provided us with the poetic license to go really look in the mirror and see where this works best. And I'm sure a bunch of your listeners are now throwing out different city names, as usually is the case. But the reality is, we looked at the heat maps like you do in any particular business, and to see where your customers are. And the reality is, the majority of the customers and clients of the Arizona Coyotes are in the East Valley. And you don't have to look any farther than when the team played downtown at what was then America West Arena, even with 3,000-4,000 obstructed view seats because it was a basketball design building. I mean, more than half of the games each year were sold out. The season ticket base was 4,000 to 5,000 more per year. So we're excited. We think it's the right thing to do, and it gives us that security that we need.
Anthony, I think the thing that jumped out at me this morning, just looking at the notes on it's 10 miles away from Glendale. I would have thought it would have been 25 miles. Well, is that a little bizarre?
No, that's actually not. Well, how should it? Maybe from the center of Glendale, but certainly not from Westgate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's no, because this site is 3 miles due east of Sky Harbor Airport, and 6 or 7 miles due east on the freeway from downtown Phoenix.
So, Anthony, if we look back at Glendale, can you give me one or two, or maybe even the top 3 reasons why it didn't work?
Ultimately, the location, I think Steve Ellman, who owned the club at the time, had the right idea. The population was booming in and around the valley and in the Phoenix area, and it looked like the only place to go was west. But then, of course, the financial crisis of 2007 occurred, which, of course, killed a lot of that. So the location was one thing, but you have to have a relationship with your partners. And the relationship with Glendale has been contentious, to say the least. And the actions of the last year and a half really kind of put a pin in it for us. And it, as I said, it gave us the opportunity. We didn't know what the reaction of the community was going to be, but I mean, one of the first phone calls we received was from the mayor of Phoenix, Greg Stanton, who wanted to work with us, and then a conversation started between myself and the athletic director at ASU, Ray Anderson, and it showed that there was a real desire to see this team in a location that made sense.
Anthony, I look at the numbers this morning, and I see a number out there of $300 million to build this building. I know when we built the building in Columbus 16 years ago, it was $175 million, and you see the buildings being built today are way $1 billion. The new arena in Detroit may be closing in. Is that a realistic number for the facility and the second facility with the university that you're trying to build? It seems very cheap to me. Am I way on left field here?
No, Doug, actually, I'm not sure where you saw that number because actually the number we've been floating around is north of $400 million.
Okay.
So, yeah, and we've come to that number through a fairly exhaustive study working with a number of builders and builders reps. And we've also gone to school on some of the recent buildings that have just opened, in particular the building in Las Vegas and the NBA building in Sacramento.
Right.
So, yeah, we think it's, I wish it was 300, but it's unfortunately going to be probably north of 400.
What's 100 million amongst friends?
Well, there you go.
Final question for me. I mean, new buildings are great. All that helps, but the team's in 30th place today. When does team performance become amazingly critical for the Arizona Coyotes?
I think we're already there. I mean, the reality is, we live, like so many of our cousins in the National Hockey League, we live in markets where there's a lot of competition for your leisure dollars, and no more so than in the Phoenix Phoenix, Arizona area. I think that we've obviously been disappointed with the performance. Now, 30th place. I mean, I think there's a 5-point buffer between us and a playoff spot with a couple of games in hand. But we have not played the way that we need to. But having that said, unfortunately, I've had some experience now with teams that haven't played that well with the last few years of ownership. But this year, I can tell you, we're not panicking. We know that we've put in 7 young guys or 7 rookies. We really like where this team is going, so we think we're going to get to that point where performance is going to be a tremendous assistance at the gate. But yeah, right now that we would be doing much better at the gate if we had started the season better, no question.
Anthony LeBlanc with us, Arizona Coyote president, CEO, alternate governor, and the Coyotes on Scotiabank Wednesday night hockey tomorrow against the Calgary Flames. So when will the rink be ready to play in? When will you guys move?
Yeah, so our hope and expectations will get shovels in the ground in about 10 months just before next season begins, which means 2 additional years after this year out in Glendale. So we're aiming for 2019, 2020.
Look forward to it. It's nice to talk to you about moving forward. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, guys.